You think you know Wes Anderson? Well, here's some things you may not have known about the Grand Budapest Hotel director. Wes Anderson had early exposure to films when he was young, as he began making films on his father's Super 8 camera. His projects were usually 3 minutes long and starred his friends and siblings. He always had an interest in film, though he initially aspired to be a writer. It wasn't until college that he realized his true passion. Anderson pays homage to the people and places of his past in his films. He used his old school, St. John's in Houston, Texas, as the setting for his film Rushmore. He apparently looked as far as the UK to find the perfect school, but realized he had been imagining his old school all along when scouting for a location. He named some of the characters in Rushmore after his former classmates at St. John's, and he even included several students and alums in the film as extras. Wes Anderson met Owen Wilson while attending the University of Texas at Austin. They both took a playwriting class together, but never really spoke until Wilson broke the ice. Quote, "We were signing up for classes, and he started asking me to help him figure out what he should do, as if we had ever spoken before or knew each other's names. I almost feel like he was taking it for granted that if we didn't know each other yet, we soon would." The two became fast friends and eventually roommates, and began their foray into the filmmaking realm together by writing Bottle Rocket. Despite being a major success now, Anderson's first effort, Bottle Rocket, was far less than successful. They had submitted it to several independent film festivals and were turned away by most. Quote, "We didn't get into Sundance, we didn't get into Telluride, we didn't get into New York. I don't remember what other festivals we tried to enter it in, but those were the big ones, and the ones we were really hoping for. We didn't get in, well, the whole thing was a disaster." Plotting a story out before filming it just isn't Anderson's style. He doesn't think of his narratives as narratives, but as an amalgamation of characters and information. Of his process, Anderson states, quote, "Every movie I've done is this accumulation of information about these characters, who they are, what their world is, and slowly figuring out what's going to happen to them." Anderson is hesitant to ascribe any interpretation to his films, as he wants his audience to feel their opinion of his films are valid. When Matt Zoller-Zeist, author of the Wes Anderson collection, recorded a video essay for the Darjeeling Limited for the Criterion release of the film, Anderson was worried that Zeist's annotation was too authoritative. Troubled by this, Anderson postulated if there was a way to make the essay come off more casual. Zeist re-recorded his entire essay word for word with a more relaxed and conversational tone. He didn't want Zeist's interpretation to come off as definitive or official. It was Anderson's hope that Zeist's interpretation was but one of many possible ways of looking at the film, and the viewer's perspective was just as important. Wes Anderson cares very little about the reviews of his work, be them positive or negative. Of this, Anderson states, quote, "There's one thing you can absolutely 100% rely on, which is that if you show 5 different people the same thing, they're all going to have a different complaint or compliment. How much good can come from putting any time into studying how people are responding to your movies?" Anderson is often cited as working frequently with the same people across his films. Owen, Andrew, and Luke Wilson, Bill Murray, Adrian Brody, Tilda Swinton are among Anderson's recurring collaborators. Quote, "I have sort of some unusual methods for working that have developed, that we sort of stumbled into over the years that I like, and we're all kind of in sync with them. And I like having a reunion of a lot of cast members on each film. It's also nice to bring in some new voices, but there's something kind of more free about having friends on a movie together." And here's a bonus one. Bill Murray is such a fan of Wes Anderson's that when he was hired to star in Rushmore, Bill Murray only asked for his SAG day rate to work on the film, which was actually only about $9,000. That was quite generous. Even more generous, Bill Murray apparently gave Wes Anderson a check for $25,000 so that they could rent a helicopter to film. However, Wes Anderson revealed that he never cashed the check. That's it for this episode of You Think You Know Movies. Make sure to subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and get the latest movie and TV news on ScreenCrush.com.